What's up, dude? When it comes to Thanksgiving dinner, I want you to think of the gravy as the delicious glue that holds everything together. And if your glue isn't up to par, then the whole meal is gonna fall flat and I just won't stand for it. Luckily, by the end of this video, you will understand how to blast out a truly flavor-packed gravy that might just become the unsung hero of Thanksgiving dinner. Now let's go! Now this specific gravy recipe is incredibly simple, but trust me, it always hits the spot. It is just full of flavor. It's so awesome. I've been making it for my whole life, and now I'm passing that along to you, and I really hope you appreciate it as much as my family has. I'm starting with a pot here. I'm gonna put that on medium-low heat, and we're gonna add our butter. The recipe will always be down in the description under the video, but that is 4 ounces to be exact. All you gotta do is let it melt. Next, we're gonna add 1/2 cup plus 1 tablespoon all-purpose flour. And if you've never done this, all we're doing right now is building a roux, which is a fundamental step in a lot of sauces. What it ends up looking like here is this sort of wet sand type consistency. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they're building a roux is they just combine the butter and the flour, and then they start adding their liquids right away. And what that's gonna do is leave you with this raw flour taste. You really wanna cook out the flour first. And a lot of times when I'm building the sauce, I try to get the roux color to match the stock color. There are some Cajun roux that get almost black. You might cook them for an hour plus. With this specific roux for turkey gravy, I'm gonna cook it for 12 to 15 minutes, or just until it achieves that perfect golden brown look. I'll show you what I mean. And there you have it, my friends. About 12 minutes has elapsed, and you can see this went from that light yellow butter color to a golden brown color to a deeper brown color, which means it just went through a few various stages of roux. So basically, the darker the color, the richer the flavor. And considering this is Thanksgiving, I want a pretty rich gravy. Our next step is gonna be to start adding our hot stock. Today, I've got turkey stock, but you could use chicken stock. You could make a roux with beef stock, lamb stock, pork stock, whatever, it doesn't matter. But considering the time of year, obviously chicken or turkey is gonna be best. And if you've made stock from the same pan that you cook the turkey in, all those turkey drippings, that's obviously gonna be best and most festive. Today, I've got turkey stock, so I'm gonna start adding little by little. To start, just about a 1/2 cup or 3/4 cup at a time. I think the trick to a really good gravy is you work in that stock little by little. You'll see it'll seize up on you like that, and then you just add a little bit more. Heat's right about medium, and we're just gonna keep working this in. If your arm doesn't hurt by the time you're done with this, you've done something wrong. More stock going in. You'll see it'll seize up real quick, and just work it in again. You can see at this point, when I've got about half my stock in, is when it really starts coming together and looking like gravy, right? Although this is disgusting, like KFC gravy right here. But hey, if you like it, go for it. More stock. At this point, if you want, you can turn the heat up a little above medium. Keep working in your stock. Wow, look at that. You see how rich and beautiful that looks already? That's because we took the roux to that stage. If we hadn't have done that, it wouldn't look this rich. At this point, I'm just gonna add the rest of my stock, and we're gonna work that in and check our consistency. Remember, whenever you're making these sort of roux sauces, you always need to wait for it to come back to a boil. Otherwise, you're not gonna know how thick it's gonna be. It really needs to boil to achieve its maximum thickness. Now, there we go. It's come back to a boil, and now I can really see the thickness. I'm just gonna test it with a spoon. For me, this is exactly how I like it. You can see that it's coating that spoon really nicely, but it's not overly thick. But by all means, if you want it to be thicker, you could always add less stock. I did 6 cups. If you want it on the thicker side, you could do 5 or even 4.5. If you thought we were done, you are wrong, buddy. I've got a couple more things to show you, and don't be alarmed. I'm gonna give you alternatives if you don't have these things or you can't find these things. The first being my old secret family recipe for gravy that has never let me down. We use marmite, which is yeast extract. I'm from England. I grew up with this stuff. I love it. Now, if you don't have marmite, really what the alternative would be is to use a little bit of beef bouillon. It just adds this sort of umami punch to your poultry gravy that is just really good. You don't taste it as beef or you don't taste it as marmite. It just tastes great. Another thing to keep in mind is that depending on how salty your turkey stock was, you gotta be careful with this because this stuff is extremely salty. So if you're using low sodium broth, definitely put more of this. If you're using just salty broth, put less of this. So I'm just gonna start adding my marmite. It sort of takes a while to dissolve here. Another thing I love about this marmite is it'll deepen the color of our gravy. And honestly, I've seen marmite available in a lot of supermarkets here now in the United States. Although if for some reason you can't find it near you, I will put a link down in the description if you wanna order some. And our next somewhat secret ingredient, rosemary salt. If you know, you know. And if you're watching this video right now and you're like, dude, I just wanted to make the gravy, marmite, rosemary salt, what's going on? Trust me, this is gonna be the best thing that ever happened to you. Do you need to make it to make the gravy? No, you can just use a little salt. But I'll tell you what, this makes everything taste like the holidays. It's the #1 recipe on my channel, and I really, really hope you make it. And it's incredibly easy. You just strip some sage leaves off the stem. You pick some rosemary leaves off the stem. You throw it in a food processor along with some salt, some garlic, and a little bit of lemon zest. You blend it up for a minute, and that's completely done. Store it in a Tupperware container. Keep it in your fridge where it will last for months, and trust me, you're gonna be so glad glad you have this around for the holidays. You put this in your turkey, you put it in your stuffing, you put it in your gravy, on roasted potatoes. It is literally good on everything, and the flavor just works. So I've done 2 teaspoons of marmite, and now I'll do about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of rosemary salt. My broth was pretty salty, so I don't need too much. We'll go ahead and work that in. And the last, but certainly not least ingredient, a little bit of Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty, which is just black pepper, and you can do as little or as much as you like. I happen to really love black pepper in gravy, so I'm gonna do quite a bit, maybe close to even a teaspoon and a half. 2 teaspoons. I'll give it a final little mix, and now this is the point where you're gonna taste it. You're definitely not done yet. Generally, when I'm doing gravy, I'll add the marmite, the salt, the pepper, give it a mix, let it sit for a couple of minutes so everything dissolves, taste it, and if it needs it, I'll add a little bit more, little by little, until we bring it perfectly together, because the gravy is like the peacekeeper of the family. You know, that one family member that just kind of holds everything together, keeps everything from falling apart? It's the glue. We need the glue. And let me tell you what, that is absolutely bang on delicious. You are gonna love, love, love this recipe. Here's the sort of consistency we have right now with our gravy. You can see it's got that thickness, but it's not overly thick. Marcus just shaved his head. I'm assuming that he felt like he was making me more comfortable, and it does. And I would like you to keep it for the rest of your life too.
Any moment I could out a ponytail. You know what I mean?
That was something else.
I could grunt out a ponytail.
Okay. It's a little hot, but man, I love this gravy.
And never double dip. Oh, it hit my hand. It's so hot. I was immediately karma.
You know what? I'm double dipping. I don't care. Honestly, I can't pick faults at it. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. Mwah, it's beautiful.
Great.
Yeah. Woo! Make it. So now you know how to make perfect gravy. The mashed potato video will pop up here in just a second. And if you need a stuffing recipe that's out of this world, that'll be right there as well. And if you like written recipes, definitely check out my Master in the Making ebook. That'll be linked in the description. That has 55 of my personal favorite recipes. I really think they're all winners. Otherwise, I hope you have the tastiest Thanksgiving of all time. And until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.